Hello folks, and welcome to the third round of the APPF1 Sprint Championship. Tom Cairns in the commentary box giving you the details for today's events. There'll be two races, both of which being 25% race distance. The first one being at Silverstone, the other being the reverse grid at Singapore. The qualifying session will be just the one-shot qualifying. All the drivers set in their times all simultaneously. So we'll have a look to see who is going to go for pole here. And now with them all setting their times at the same time, we can only have a look at one driver. Perhaps we'll go for one of the championship contenders. And I'm looking at who is in contention for the championship. I would say it's one of five. Vardy in the Red Bull will be one of them. So the drivers just sorting out their choice of tyres for when they start their single lap shootout. It's got Vardy QTR on 67 points, knowing light 354 in the McLaren. As far as I know, he's not taking part in this first race as he is on a race ban, but will feature in the second of the two races. So yeah, Wayne in the Williams and Knowing Light in the McLaren will be serving race bans following the fiascos in Singapore, well, in the last weekend's races in Mexico and Hungary. So we'll have a look and find, let's have a look at, let's go for UF King Gremlin. Good opportunity to see how he's getting on with his lap. It's a 27 dead in sector 1. Ooh. And Davillard has dropped out, clearly either binned it or exceeded track limits, so he'll be starting at the back. And UFK Gremlin's had his time invalidated for exceeding track limits as well. Vardy still going though in the Red Bull. DRS open on the hanger straight. And this is going to probably be very much in the top three. Patterson's dropped out as well, exceeding track limits. Kingston likewise. UFK Gremlin will be starting at the back with Davillard. Vardy QTR crossing over the line now, and it's going to be a 25-2, and he's on 2 pole position ahead of his teammate Ted 420, only by just under 0.03 of a second. So it will be an all Red Bull front row here at Silverstone for the first of 2 races. 25% race distance, 13 laps it will be here at Silverstone. So Vardy QTR on pole ahead of Ted, then it's Scott M89 in third for AlphaTauri, G Ghost in fourth, Sumo Gilligan in 5th, ahead of Tia 727, Bluey 585 in 7th, and it's Aces versus Kings in 8th, S-Man and Kiza Giza on row 5, have Faceless Arm and P4 88, PA88 on row 6. Starry 911, Davillard on row 7, Patterson and Kingston on row 8, UF King Gremlin in 17th spot, who didn't set a time. Not sure if there's any other drivers coming into this first race. I also want to wish a happy birthday as well to Sumo Gilligan, who is starting 5th. And from what I've been told, he has turned 22. Hope you're having a very, very good day so far. So just waiting for the drivers to sort out their race and fuel strategies. Now, with it being a 13-lap event, I would think that we're going to see a lot of drivers in the pits at the same time. So in terms of track position and not being stuck in the pits will be crucial. So just a few seconds away from the start of this one. I don't believe there'll be a formation lap. Oh, there is a formation lap, yeah. So my apologies there. So we have got a formation lap. So a chance for the drivers to warm up their tyres. The only driver started on the mediums is Davila in the Alfa Romeo, one of the championship contenders, going on the alternate strategy. The others going on the soft compound for the first stint. So Vardy QTL looking to extend his lead. He's got a good chance to do so over Knowing Light, who won't be racing at Silverstone but will be for the reverse grid at Singapore. In fact, Ted is tied on points with Knowing Light, so Vardy's got an opportunity to extend his points lead. You know, in case you are new to the APPF1 Sprint Championship, all finishers get points. Race winner gets 20, second place driver gets 19, third gets 18, all the way down to 20th, who would get 1. There's also a point on offer for the driver who sets the fastest lap, no matter where they finish. And you've got to finish the race or be classified in order to get the points. And if you do retire, then you have to start at the back, essentially. And if you are the one who retires first, you would not start on the reverse grid pole. That would go to the driver who is the last of the classified finishers. So Patterson and Davila will be determined to make up places, as will Kingston and UF King Gremlin. Pushing too hard in qualifying. PA 88, P4 LFS 88, pushing too hard as well. Now we've had 4 races so far in this championship. Pattinson 89 won the first one in Austin. Vardy QTL won in Abu Dhabi. Aces vs Kings won in Mexico, and G-Ghost won in Hungary. So we've had 4 different winners from the first 4 races so far. Can Vardy become the first repeat winner in the Red Bull? Or could Ted become the latest to join that race winning list? So the top guys are on the grid, just waiting for the others to come in. Who will come away with the top points here at Silverstone? We're about to find out very, very shortly. 5 lights are on. Lights out, and away we go. And the Red Bulls seem to have got away cleanly. In fact, Scott M89's made an even better start in the AlphaTauri, coming through Abbey for the first time. And the Red Bulls stay in first and second. Then it's Scott 89 and the Haas of G-Ghost going side by side into Village. But it's the AlphaTauri who has the upper hand on the Red Bull. And further behind, we've got the Renault of Gilligan, who remains in front of Aces versus Kings. Then it's Tier 727 in 7th place, followed by S-Man, Bluey and Starry. Now, UF King Gremlins made up 4 places from the back of the grid, so good start from him. And nothing too else in terms of lead position changes. In fact, Aces versus Kings has got by Simo Gilligan, who's gone for a spin down at Brooklands. It looks as though he's had a coming together with someone. He's fallen to the back of the grid either way, or fallen to the back of the field, I should say. But Vardy stays in first position, then it's Ted, Scott, G-Ghost, Aces versus Kings, and Tia in the top 6. And someone else has gone for a spin in the background. It's Patterson. One of the championship contenders has gone for a spin in the Williams. He falls behind Simo Gilligan. Vardy continuing to lead out in front. Not out of DRS range yet, but remember, there's no DRS for the first 2 laps of the race. So Vardy's got an opportunity to try and bridge out that gap for when lap 3 does begin. There's Tia in 6th position ahead of S-Man in the Racing Point. Then it's the second of the Mercedes of Bluey 585 in 8th. And we've got a battle going on between Starry 91 and Hephaestus Arms over 9th place. The leaderboard keeps glitching at the moment. We want to go to the battle for the lead at the moment and see if there's anything changing at the front. the top, and Aces versus Kings has got in front of, well, say he's got in front of T, he's still in 5th place. The leaderboard's not 100% accurate at the moment, but it is Vardy who's leading, followed by Ted. Then it's the AlphaTauri of Scott in 3rd place, and it's the Haas of G-Ghost in 4th. And UFK Gremlin is making an astonishing start from the back of the grid. He's up to 9th. He's made a cracker of a getaway so far. And the next man up from him is Bluey in the Mercedes. And we've got Davalar, who's trying to make up for lost time. He's got Starry 91 ahead of him. Going over the grass there at Beckett's did Starry 91, and he's got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Exceeding track limits, that'll be. So he's already on the back foot. Coming to the end of lap 3 now. Lap 2, I should say. Vardy still leads, setting a new fastest lap, and DRS is now enabled. So Ted will have an opportunity to get into the slipstream, or get to within a second of his teammate at the detection point for when he uses the DRS on the Wellington straight. So Ted with DRS now, the rear wing opens. He won't be close enough to have a go, but at least he can close in. Nevertheless, on his teammate, Gigo's looking to do the same on Scott, too far back to have a go through Blookins. He thought about it, because he did brake later than the AlphaTauri, but no change of position there. Tia looking to make up places with Aces versus Kings ahead of him. UF King Gremlin looking to make up for lost time as well. Made a brilliant start from 17th. He's already up to 9th place. He's got the Mercedes of Bluey ahead of him. There's a battle going on further behind between the Alfa Romeos of Davalar and P4 LFS 88. Bluey has got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. I reckon we're going to see quite a few of those in this race, which could change the pecking order come the end. Now Bluey's going to have DRS on the racing points of S-Man, and side by side coming through Stowe. And the loss of momentum, Mercedes is going to allow Gremlin to pull alongside down the inside as they come through into Vale, and Mercedes remains in front. There's no doubt that Gremlin is faster than these guys, so he needs to try and get by them very quickly if he's going to be battling with the leaders later on. Ted now half a second behind Vardy. Didn't get as good traction as he needed to have done coming out of the loop. The rear wing opens, but I doubt he's going to make a lunge down the inside into Brooklands. Bluey may be able to, though, on S-Man. Down the inside he goes, breaks that. I think S-Man braked later than the Mercedes. And Gremlin fancies his chances around the outside coming through Loffield. And the Mercedes got poor wheel spin coming off Loffield and through Woodcote. He was able to just remain in front of the McLaren. Want to go back to the battle for the lead because Ted is right on the gearbox of Vardy. I think he's probably too far back to do it on the hanger straight, but he'll give it a good go. Rear wing open. Yeah, he's too far back to do it from there. And G-Ghost has got ahead of Scott for 3rd position on this lap as well. And we've got Davalar right behind the racing point of Hephaestus Arm for 10th place. Davalar, the only driver to have started on the mediums to the rest of the field, so he'll have a chance to potentially go into the lead for a few laps before he comes in to put on the soft tyres before the checkered flag. And P4 is in the pits for Alfa Romeo at the end of lap 4. Wants to get clean air, and Starry 91 also in. Rear wing open on the Red Bull of Ted. But he's not going to be close enough to have a go into Brooklands this time, so we'll have to wait. Aces versus Kings likewise as he closes in on Scott. Gremlin still behind the Mercedes. Hephaestus Arm still under pressure. In fact, Bluey went wide actually through on the exit of Brooklands, and that's going to allow Gremlin to get good traction and good acceleration coming out of Loffield. Can he pull alongside on the old pit straight? Right on board with him. I think Bluey will have it covered through Cops. And he does. He goes wide though, and that could cost him time. He may have exceeded track limits. He might have got a warning for that. And Faces Arm and Davilar buckling over 10th place. I think Davilar's got by. In fact, he's gone into the barrier and he's out. Davilar's crashed out through Maggot, and that might bring out a safety car, you know. It might not. We'll have to wait and see. The leaders have gone past the pits. But that is a really bad error from Davilar. I'm not sure if he came together with Faces Arm coming through Maggot. But that's no points for him in this race. That's a dent to his championship challenge. We are still early in the season. There's plenty of time for ground to be made up. But that's a really bad error from him as Aces vs Kings comes in for his mandatory pit stop. Sumo Gilligan coming in as well. Who else is in the pits? Kingston is in. Now his teammate's just made his stop and he's on his way, so he shouldn't lose too much time being stuck in the pits waiting for the Ferrari mechanics to service him. There's no change at the front still. Vardy still leading from Ted, and we didn't have a virtual safety car or a safety car for that accident involving Davilar, so that's good to see. Keeps the race going. Gremlin up to 8th position in the McLaren with the first set of pit stops underway. Can he make 2 into 1 coming through Cops? They go side by side. He thought about it. He got by the Mercedes of Bluey and all that. They didn't want to make a dive bomb down the inside into Cops corner. That would have been far too risky. He's got an opportunity to do it on the hanger straight now though. He got good drive coming out of Beckett's and through Chapel, and I think there's only going to be one winner here because he's got DRS. He's down the inside as they come into Stowe corner, and that's 6th place for Gremlin. Really good stuff there. You can see more drivers coming into the pits, including Gremlin now as well. So who's in? Vardy's in, Scott's in, Tier's in, Gremlin's in. So these 4 are all pitting now. More and more drivers are getting time penalties. We'll have a look at those in a few moments' time. But Ted takes the lead temporarily on the track. G-Ghost is in 2nd place now, ahead of S-Man and Bluey. And I think, who's the next driver to come in? In fact, most of the field are coming in. I think Aces vs Kings is the next driver who could potentially go past the pits. Although Vardy's coming out now with a clear track ahead of him in 6th place. That's great news for him, because that way he can complete an undercut on his teammate for when Ted comes in for his mandatory pit stop. Scott rejoins ahead of Tia, then Aces vs Kings is behind Tia. His tyres will be up to temperature whilst Tia's trying to warm up his, and Scott as well. That's bad news for Aces vs Kings, because I believe he was ahead of Tia before the pit stops, and now he's got to try and get back ahead of him. But remember, there's only 1 point difference between every place at the finish. As I've already mentioned earlier on, 20 points for the race winner, 19 for 2nd, 18 for 3rd, 17 for 4th, 16 for 5th, and so on. So whilst it's important to get as good a result as possible, points are key for this championship. Ted and Ghost are in the pits now. Blue will be coming in as well. S-Man decides to stay out. He doesn't want to be stuck in the pits, presumably. So he's got an opportunity to leave the race for a lap before he comes in. Ted has done his pit stop now. I wonder if he got held up in the pits actually by the hast of G-Ghost as he went by. But Patterson also in as well in the Williams. He's not had a good race so far. Vardy's coming round and Ted's in front of him. In fact, Ted staying out a lap longer has got him ahead of his teammate. Now Vardy will have better temperature on his medium tyres, but Ted has completed the overcut on him. That's crucial for the race win. G-Ghost is now effectively in 3rd place ahead of Scott. There's Aces vs Kings and Tia. Gremlin will be up to 7th. And who has stayed out on the... I think Gremlin's coming for his... I was going to say he's coming for his pit stop. I'm not sure if he has. Who started on the medium compound? It was Davilar who started on the medium and he crashed out. So there's only S-Man who's yet to come in. And with him being the only driver yet to stop, he's got an opportunity to not get held up in the pits. That way he loses less time. waiting for other drivers to be coming in. And he's in now. And with this, he's going to be on fresher tyres than most of the field. So he's got an opportunity to get a good result out of this. Perhaps a top 10 finish is possible for the Racing Point. And Starry 91 getting another 3-second time penalty. Now, all the drivers in the top 8 currently on the leaderboard do not have time penalties. S-Man's completed his pit stop. And Gremlin's gone for a spin at what looks like Club. And that's a really bad error for him. It's going from bad to worse for him. And Patterson nearly losing it on the Hamilton straight as well. And with all of that, has allowed S-Man to rejoin in 8th, just ahead of Bluey. And Gremlin looks like he's had another moment somewhere. He's spun again, this time on the exit of Abbey and through Farm. Now, he doesn't rejoin into the path of other drivers, which is good to see. But he's losing time and places and points as well. I suppose the only consolation is, providing he does get to the checkered flag, he would start in a higher position on the reverse grid for the second race of today at Singapore. Ted still leading, but his teammate is closing in all the time. So he's half a second on the leaderboard with the use of DRS. That will come down gradually as they approach Stowe Corner. Now Tia is less than a second behind Aces versus Kings. S-Man on his fresh mediums. He was passed by Bluey, I think, on the Wellington straight. Bluey finding some pace at the moment. G goes with the fastest lap point now at the moment in the Haas. He's 2.2 seconds behind Vardy QTR. And that could be important, actually, because if Vardy gets a time penalty for exceeding track limits, G goes would move up into second place. But he wants that race victory, does Vardy. And someone else has gone for a spin. It's the Racing Point of S-Man who throws it all away. And we've got a virtual safety car now as well. I don't think that's going to change anything, because all the drivers have completed their pit stops. Now, S-Man will need to come back into the pits for a new front wing, unless he decides to just carry on until the checkered flag. I think he may have to, you know, because you lose so much time being in the pits here at Silverstone. Unless he wants to come into the pits, get a set of the soft compound on, and go for the fastest lap point, and for a higher grid position for the reverse grid race at Singapore. I think we're going to be back underway. Now we are. And Vardy QTR will have DRS on the hanger straight. Still no position change there. And someone else has had a moment. That'll be, I think that's the Racing Point of S-Man, who's just letting the field go past him, as he knows that he's got no front wing to his car and he'll need to come back in for a replacement. Now, he's got to remember, if he gets to the end of this race, he would start in a higher grid spot. And then at the moment, if Kingston goes past him, then S-Man would start on reverse grid pole, because he's the last of the finishers. But he's got to finish the race or be classified in order to have that. Otherwise, he would be starting at the back for the reverse grid race at Singapore. So Ted leading with 3 laps to go, 0.6 of a second clear of his teammate. And S-Man does come into the pits. In fact, Bluey's in the pits as well. I think he had a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car, which has cost him places, actually, which is bad news for him. Now let's have a look at the time penalties, because that will come into play at the end of the race. Tia's got 3 seconds of time penalty. P4 LFS88 has got 6 seconds. Now, Tia wouldn't lose his 6th position, but P4 LFS88 would lose 2 positions. Or it might be just 1, actually, because Patterson's got a 3-second time penalty of his own. So P4 LFS88 would only lose 1 place. And there's a race point coming out of the pits as well. That'll be Esman, who... I'm not sure if he's changed his front wing, you know. No, he's got no front wing. He's changed the tyres, but he's got no front wing on his car. His car's ghosted to allow the leaders go by, but that's really bizarre, isn't it? He's a lap down anyway, but if he gets to the end of the race, he will start on reverse grid pole. In case I've seen everything on F1 2020, there's that. A driver changes his tyres but doesn't get a new front wing fitted. Brilliant. And we've got Vardy, who is half a second behind his teammate now. Onto the hanger straight they go for the penultimate time. He's still going to be too far back to have a go. I think someone's had a moment at the back. That may well be Esman, who is continuing to lose time. He's allowing the lap cars to go through. And now we've got another incident at Sector 2, I believe. We'll have a look at that, actually. Esman going across the Maggots and Beckett's complex. He's had a really shocking race, it has to be said. And Gremlin in 11th place is on the threat from Bluey, Starry and Geezer. Gremlin got poor traction coming out of Beckett's. We're on the final lap now. Ted's still leading from his teammate. And on course for victory. Vardy will be happy to finish second, as that would, I say it would extend his lead. They'll be tied on points unless either of them get the fastest lap point. And that fastest lap point is G-Ghosts. Now, unless either Vardy or Ted can get the fastest lap in this race, they would be tied on points. They would have a win each as well. So I'm just looking to see who's got more second places. It's Vardy who's got 2 second places to Ted's 0. So Vardy would still lead the championship on countback. But they're coming through Vale and then Club for the last time. Onto the Hamilton straight. Ted leads his teammate over the line to win the first race of the day here at Silverstone. Ted becomes the 5th different winner in the APPF1 Sprint Championship to take victory. Vardy comes home in 2nd. G-Ghost is 3rd and gets the fastest lap. Scott M89 is in 4th. Aces versus Kings in 5th. Tia 727 in 6th. P4 Alaves will drop behind Sumo Gilligan. So Sumo Gilligan is in 7th place. P4 Alaves 88 is in 8th. Patterson 9th. The Faceless Arm will be 10th unless Gremlin can close on him in the last few corners of the race. So Faceless Arm coming over the line now. I'm just waiting for Gremlin to come through. In fact, Faceless Arm should be 10th. Gremlin 11th ahead of Bluey. Then it's Geezer, Starry 91, Kington and Esman, who is a lap down in 16th place and will start on reverse grid pole. So a brilliant victory all round for Red Bull once again. Ted taking the team's 2nd victory of the season. It's 1 apiece between Vardy and Ted in terms of wins, and they're level on points in the championship. And knowing like not scoring, Patterson coming out in 9th, getting 12 points added to his total. He moves on to 73 points, which moves him in front of Knowing Light. Vardy QTR is now on 86 points, likewise with Ted. So 86 points, 86 points, then 73 for Patterson, and 66 for Knowing Light. Drivers coming out onto the podium. It's been a well-deserved victory for Ted. I'm sure Vardy would have loved the victory, but points are important for this series. I'd like to think it will go down to the wire. And G-Ghost's third position and his fastest lap point puts him on to 51 points as well. So Ted wins over Vardy in second place. It's G-Ghost in third, Scott in fourth, Aces versus Kings in fifth, Tier 727 in sixth, Sumo Gilligan was seventh ahead of P4 LFS 88 in eighth, Patterson ninth ahead of Faceless Arm in 10th, UF King Gremlin was 11th, followed by Bluey, Keys Geezer in 13th ahead of Starry, Kingston 15th, S-Man the last of the finish in 16th, but he starts on reverse grid pole for the Singapore round. Davalar was the only driver not to finish the race. So just a reminder of the standings. Vardy and Ted are tied on 86 points, but on countback, it's Vardy who is leading. Then Patterson is on 73 points in third, and Knowing Light, who will be returning for this race in Singapore coming up from his one race ban, he's on 66 points in fourth position. So we're just waiting now for the host of this lobby to sort out the custom grid, and we'll be underway for the Singapore race very, very soon. Hopefully in a couple of minutes' time. Now, Silverstone, in case you didn't know, for APPF1, Silverstone has hosted the most APPF1 races across the various car classes. So it's not just the Sprint Championship that they do. There's other championships that this particular sim league do. And as far as I know, they run an APPF1 championship on a Friday. And I think, just looking at it says short qualifying and 50% race distance. So it's like the traditional race format for a lot of sim leagues on F1 2020. So yeah, as far as I know, those are the only two championships that the APPF1 racing community do across all their races, really. So Wayne and Knowing Light. So Wayne, who will be racing for Williams, I believe. No, Knowing Light is back in the McLaren. Wayne will be presumably in the Williams. It'll be either the Williams or the Haas. But he was in the Williams last weekend anyway, so presumably he will be in the Williams for this coming race. Well, in the Teams Championship, before the Silverstone race, Red Bull 12 points clear of McLaren. But with that 1-2 finish, that's most certainly boosted their tally for the campaign massively. They've got a huge margin now. Picks up 39 points at Silverstone, which takes their total to 172, I should say. Nearly said 162, but it's 172. McLaren picking up only... Well, Gremlin came home in 11th place. So he would have got 10 points, which puts McLaren on to 131 points. And Williams only picked up 12 points to their name. So they're on 117. So as far as the championship's concerned, Red Bull are running away with it. They are currently now 41 points clear, which is more than the maximum that a team can score in one race, essentially. Now, on the calendar itself, in terms of what venues the Sprint Championship will be contesting, They've already done Austin and Abu Dhabi 2 weeks ago, Mexico and Hungary last weekend, Silverstone and Singapore today. Next week, on the 2nd of May, the short version of Bahrain will be used, and Paul Ricard for the reverse grid. On the 9th of May, Spa and Zandvoort will be contested on. Then it's Canada and Bahrain, the Grand Prix layer of Bahrain, that is, on the 16th. On the 23rd is the penultimate round, Baku and the Red Bull Ring. And the season finale on the 30th of May is Monte Carlo and Interlagos in Brazil. Could well see a few drivers still battling for the title come the end of May, but we'll have to wait and see. So from what I've been told, Fridays have assists restrictions, and that the APPF1 racing community have 3 community events throughout the week that are just for fun, which is good to see. It's good to know. If you have just joined the stream, do welcome. If you wish to get involved in the chat as well, then feel free to ask us anything. So the custom grid is set. The reverse grid, I should say, is set now for the second of the 2 races today here at Singapore, who will come away as the championship leader post round 3. By being last of the finishes, S-Man will be on pole position. Then it's Kingston alongside. Starry is next, and it's Kiza, Bluey and Gremlin. Now, I don't know about the weather conditions. I'd be interested to know what the weather conditions are going to be like for this particular race, because I know it can sometimes have rain, not always, but I'm just thinking if we do have a wet race with a 25% race distance being time limited to 30 minutes, we may not complete the scheduled race distance of 16 laps. So if you are one of those that's competing in this and you know anything about the weather conditions, I would be interested to know, as will the viewers. So just waiting for the drivers to complete their race and fuel strategies, and the formation lap for the 6th race of the APPF1 Sprint Championship will begin. We are away for the formation lap now. So a chance to see who will be starting on what. Kingston will start on the mediums, as will Bluey, Sumo Gilligan, Tia, Aces versus Kings, and Davalar. All the others are starting on the soft compound. And apparently clear weather is always on in the championship, so there's no rain at all that intervenes with any of these races. For what I can see, it's a 15-lap race as well, not 16. Should be in for a cracker of a race here, though. S-Man leading the field round the formation lap. He really needs a big improvement from that Silverstone race. Now, before the Silverstone race, he was on 24 points, and his 16th place finish added another 5 to it, so he's on 29 points now. It'll be tough for him to remain in the top 5, but if he could do that, that would do his championship no harm at all, really. I doubt that he'll be fighting for the title, as he's too far behind, but he'll give it a good try nevertheless. Now Kingston, who finished 15th, which saw him increase his total of 48 to 54, he's got a great opportunity to close down that gap to those he's fighting with for the title. But he is now 32 points behind, so he's more than a race win behind Vardy and Ted. So coming around corners 22 and 23. S-Man leading the cars onto the grid now. Under the, well, looks like the sunrise of the Marina Bay Street Circuit. Right, everyone is in position now. Now the 5 lights are coming on. When they go out, we'll be racing in Singapore. Lights out, and away we go. S-Man gets off the line respectively ahead of the Ferrari of Kingston. Then we've got the McLaren, who makes contact with the Ferrari, nearly going for a spin there, Kingston. He got tapped there by Gremlin, but he keeps hold of second position. But this is allowing S-Man to pull clear as they come to turn 5, and S-Man continuing to lead. Then it's Kingston, Gremlin in 3rd, Starry 4th, Bluey 5th, and it's Geezer Sumo Gilligan, who's side by side at the moment with Patterson. So they come down to turn 7. Gilligan down the inside of the AlphaTauri, who makes contact with the Mercedes of Bluey, and that's wrecked his front wing. He's gonna suffer horrible downfalls. He makes contact again, this time with the Renault of Sumo Gilligan, and Geezer losing places corner by corner by the way he's making contact with the other drivers. So S-Man 1.5 seconds clear of Kingston and Gremlin, who is right behind him, as Starry 91 and Bluey battling over 4th place, and it's Sumo Gilligan still fending off from Patterson. Geezer ahead of G-Ghost, who's made up great ground actually. He started the race, I believe, down in 14th position, and he's got by Geezer, and he's up to 8th, so good start from him. Aces versus Kings behind, as is Ted, and we've got someone's gone for a spin. It's Sumo Gilligan in the Renault. Sumo Gilligan's gone for a spin. Now I wonder if he's made contact with someone, or he's got on the power too early, or hit the curbs too hard, but either way he's fallen into the back of the field. So S-Man crossing the line to complete lap 1. Kingston 2nd, then it's Gremlin, Starry in 4th, ahead of Bluey. And once again the leaderboard is glitching there, so we'll find out soon enough what the correct positions are on the leaderboard. And Gilligan's got a time penalty for speeding in the pits. His race going from bad to worse so far. There's Ted there making up ground, not quite sure what position he's in at the moment. We'll find out very soon. And we've got a battle there between the Alfa Romeo P4 LFS and the Red Bull, what looks like Vardy, who's going alongside, and he's through. So Vardy upper position ahead of the Alfa Romeo, and he's got an AlphaTauri ahead of him, which is Geezer in 13th. So Vardy, or he may be 12th actually. We'll find out soon enough when the leaderboard does eventually sort itself out. S-Man still defending the lead over Kingston, who's desperate to get in front here and pull away from those who he's fighting for the title most especially. And through this lovely section as they go under the bridge here, under the gun stuns. Esman continuing to defend, continuing to lead. Need fastest lap, but that will come down as the race goes on. G-Ghost has got it, and then Ted's got it now in the Red Bull. Gremlin's got a time penalty. Patterson is in the pits for an early change of tyres, as is what looks like a faceless arm. Kizagi's now in P4 LFS. It's getting very busy in the pit lane already, and we're only 2 laps in. And Esman's going to need to defend from Kingston here if he's to keep hold of the lead, but Kingston's going to be alongside. The two make contact, and Esman goes for a spin, and I think Kingston may get penalised for that, as he was behind him coming into the corner. He tips him round. We'll find out soon enough, but either way, Esman's gone for a spin, and he's fallen down the order. Gremlin looking to take the lead from Kingston through the mayhem. It's going to be alongside. Down the inside he goes, and nearly went into the barrier then. Kingston completes the switchback and goes back through. And we've got the Mercedes of Bluey right behind, looking to put his Mercedes up into second place here. P4 LFS, the Lacers get a time penalty. Ted is now up to 6th place in the Red Bull, with Vardy just dropping a position actually. In fact, he's got ahead now of Esman, who I think has picked up front wing damage from the contact earlier on with Kingston. And stewards didn't give anything to Kingston following the contact. Gremlin's now in though. Or he decides to stay out. Oh no, he comes in. No, I was just going to say he's committed himself. He's overstepped the mark there by getting a pit lane speeding penalty, and he's retired. So Gremlin's had enough. Not sure what that is all about, but Gremlin, it will not score points in this race. Vardy in now in the Red Bull. I wonder if we'll get a fair few more drivers dropping out of this. So Kingston still leads. Got plenty of drivers in the pits at the end of lap 3. I reckon those who have come in for the mediums are going to be in prime position here to win this race, although Kingston started the race on the mediums. So it'll be interesting to see how far he can take them. Will he go on the hard tyres, or will he go on the softs later on? I would think if drivers are coming in as early as lap 2 or 3, he'd probably go on the hards. And with that, he needs to try and cover off those who have already pitted. So looking at who's already pitted, everyone in the top 10's not pitted, but P4 LFS has. And P4 LFS has got a time penalty. Now, if I was Kingston, I would cover off those behind who've already pitted to try and keep hold of the lead. He's got track position at the moment. 4 drivers have got time penalties so far. Someone else has gone for a spin. It's Heface's arm in the racing point. Now, he's got the car reset, but I think he'll get penalised because you're not allowed to reset your car. We've got Aces versus Kings right behind the Haas of G-Ghost. The reigning world champion will need to fend off the Ferrari behind. Aces versus Kings. Looking to get in front, although Ted is right behind in the Red Bull. Ted is getting stuck behind traffic here at the moment. Starry moving up into 10th position as Wayne and what looks like Scott are in the pits. Scott, well, looking like he's gone on the medium compound, as is Wayne AA. Faces arm in the pits now for a front wing replacement. Kingston nearly 2 seconds in front. Aces versus Kings fending off G-Ghost. Aces versus Kings has got ahead of G-Ghost. They went through what looks like turn 17, I think it is. Either way, Aces versus Kings is up into the podium positions. It's turn 14, my mistake there. Over the line goes Kingston. Starting lap 6, 10 laps to go. Continuing to lead. There is a back marker who's coming up ahead of him. That's Hephaestus Arm. Should be okay though. Kingston will be coming into the pits soon. And G-Ghost is in for Haas for the mediums. Now with him staying out later than the others, will that give him an advantage later on? Knowing Light is in for McLaren. And he also goes on the mediums. Davlar moving up into 6th place. And it looks like G-Ghost is going to have track position here, which is good news for him. And Knowing Light will rejoin behind P4 LFS 88. Kingston has done well to stay in the lead so far. His teammate Aces versus Kings fending off the Red Bull of Ted. Tia is in 5th position, Devilar 6th, but those in the top 6 have yet to make their pit stops. At the moment, G-Ghost looks to be the favourite to win this one, although nothing is guaranteed yet. S-Man getting ahead of Wayne for 15th position. Kingston crossing the line, and it's a spinner. Bluey's spun it, exiting the last corner, and Starry's out. Starry, I think, has had he's crashed out, look, and we've got a safety car now. Starry's had an incident somewhere. I think he hit the barrier on the exit of the, looks like the Anderson Bridge. There's a costly error there for Starry 91. No points for him in this one. And we've got a safety car. Now, Kingston's already passed the pits, as has Aces versus Kings. Bluey's also passed the pits. Tia's coming in though, and as is Davalar. So they're clearly going to go on the hard tyres, because they've got to use at least 2 of the 3 dry compounds. I think they'll be on the best tyres for when they do come out of the pits. P4 LFS is also in, but he's going to be having to wait behind his teammate. So Tia out in front of Davalar now as well, as the safety car waiting to pick up the leaders. So who else is in the pits? P4 LS exiting now. Sumo Gilligan also in. Patterson continuing to... Patterson's in for another set of tyres. He's going on the soft compound this time. Faces on. Now, will he choose to come in? I suppose he's only just made a pit stop, hasn't he? So he may just stay out for another lap and then come in for another set of... Yeah, because the thing is, if he pits in on this lap, he'll fall a lap down, and he won't be able to get back on the lead lap. So he stays out, does the Faces arm. Kingston's in. So Kingston is in for his only stop of the race. His teammate's in as well. And he's going to have to wait behind his teammate. Although he's had to wait a little bit long, maybe not stuck behind, but he's had a bit of delay because the Ferrari team weren't quite ready for him. Ted will be out behind Aces versus Kings because Bluey had to pit for a new front wing. So all of this has allowed Kingston to keep hold of the lead ahead of his teammate Aces versus Kings in second. Ted will be third, G-Ghost, I believe, will be in 4th position now as Bluey comes out of the pits. Safety car's now picked up the leader. Now Vardy's just pitted. I wonder how long the safety car will stay out for. I reckon it'll stay out for a couple of laps because it hasn't gone all the way round. Because once the safety car does come out, it normally would stop after a few corners to wait for the leader to be to catch up to it and allow the back markers to go through. So Kingston leading a Ferrari 1-2, Aces versus Kingston 2nd, Ted 3rd, G goes 4th, Bluey in 5th place for Mercedes, Knowing Light 6th for McLaren, Vardy QTR in 7th place, then it's Geezer, Scott and Tia rounding out the top 10. Now all the drivers who do finish would get points as the Faceless Arm comes into the pits for a fresh set of the mediums. Now considering he's already used the softs, he can go to the end on those if he wishes to. And as I said, the safety car is going to be staying out for another lap. Now just to have a look at those who've got penalties. In fact, G-Ghost has got a drive-through, presumably for exceeding the Delta whilst under safety car conditions. Wayne's got a 3-second time penalty. P4 Eleves has got a 3-second time penalty, and Sumo Gilligan has got a 5-second time penalty. Now, I was just thinking, those who started on the mediums, if they come in for a set of the soft tyres already, will they come in at the end of this lap? Any of them coming in at the end of this lap to put a set of the medium compound tyres on? Before Eleves decided not to. Sumo Gilligan continuing round. Patterson and Faces On will continue catching up. And Faces On getting a 3-second time penalty. It was a needless penalty, to be honest. I know he's trying to catch up to the field, but he can't be affording to get to be getting penalties at this stage now. Now G goes with his drive-through. He'll have to take it on the restart. He can't take that under safety car conditions. So everyone has stopped now. And I should think Kingston and Aces versus Kings will pull away, and then once Ted is in the window to have a go, he'll do that. As it stands, as far as the championship is concerned, Ted would be leading the title race. The fastest lap point is his at the moment as well. The safety car is coming in at the end of this lap, according to the graphic. So we'll get back on the way on the restart. So once Vardy's got by G-Ghost, who takes his drive-through, Ted will be 4 points in front of his teammate after this round. There's a long way to go yet. We've still got 6 laps of racing to do here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit in Singapore. Kingston will back the field up. And once he's ready, he will pull clear. I wonder where he'll go. I think he's gone. Or has he? No, he's back in the field. A bit surprised he didn't. He could have just gone for it there, to be honest with you. he's gone now, though. Kingston leading on the restart. We're back on the way. 6 laps remaining here in Singapore. Now, are the Ferraris going to battle amongst each other? I think they will do, but remember, they need to try and get to the end of the race in order to get points. And we've got a spin at the back, not sure who it is. Someone's had a moment somewhere. It might have been Wayne who has gone off at the chicane. And we've got a battle for the lead here as Aces versus Kings tries to put his teammate under pressure. Can't do so there. In fact, Kingston's got a time penalty now. So Kingston's got a 3-second time penalty, which will go to his time at the end of the race. You can see there's all sorts of mayhem going on behind. There's a racing point involved. In fact, we've got mayhem behind as well. And there's a Williams who's been tapped from behind there. Not sure who it was. In fact, Sumo Gilligan has got a time penalty for a severe collision with the Mercedes of Tia. So he's got another 5 seconds to take. He's now on 10 seconds worth of time penalty, which will drop him a couple of places come the end of the race. I'm sure he'll have damage to the car, nevertheless. We're now in sector 2, and Patterson has had a moment in the Williams. Man, it was all kicking off there, wasn't it? But Kingston still leads on the road anyway. Aces versus Kings is second. Ted is third, Bluey fourth. And Vardy, through all the chaos, is now up to fifth. In fact, Double R down the inside there. Look of G Ghost, who will be taking his drive-through at the end of this lap. I wonder if he's picked up damage on the Mayhem. It doesn't look as though he has. But either way, he needs to be taking his drive-through, same which he takes now. And AlphaTauri's going in the pits behind him. That'll be Kizagiza, who I think he's got damage to his AlphaTauri he has on the right-hand side. And he's had a moment at the last turn. It looks though there was no... I think there may have been just for the drivers who were coming into the pits, actually. Kingston still leads. Top 4 close to each other now. Less than 2 seconds between them. Vardy will be thinking about the championship at the moment, although his teammate is ahead of the championship on the live points table. But that can change in the final 5 laps. Tia, Kizagiza and G goes on their way. G goes down to 15th place. And I suppose the only consolation for him is that there are drivers ahead of him on the road who have time penalties to serve. But he's 19 seconds behind the 14th place pilot Wayne AA. So may not be able to gain any positions come the end of the race. Patterson, the latest driver to get a time penalty now. So Kingston's still out in front. Vardy sets in a new fastest lap, takes that away from his teammate. That's crucial for the championship, that is. It's now down to 1 point between them. Ted leading, that is. And we've got change positions going on further behind. There's a race point going off. It's S-Man is lost positions by the looks of it. In 11th place now. And Aces versus Kings has got ahead of his teammate. So that's crucial, actually, because Aces versus Kings can pull away whilst Kingston's trying to fend off the others. But he's got a 3-second time penalty, has Kingston. So he needs to try and stay with his teammate and pull away from the others. But it's not going to be very easy to do that. The Faceless Arm up into 11th place now, ahead of his teammate. He was right at the back of the field before the safety car was the Faceless Arm. He's made up places on the restart, so he's doing well. In fact, he's got front wing damage, I think, on the left-hand side of his car. That must have been on the mayhem we had with Simo Gilligan and Tia. And Vardy's now got a time penalty to his name. That's bad news for him. That wouldn't drop him down any positions, though, because Knowing Light is nearly 7 seconds behind him. But if he was to get in front of Bluey and Ted, or even Aces versus Kings, I should say, then that would drop him down positions unless he can pull out a big enough gap on those who he's battling against now. Just 3 laps to go here. Kington in second position would drop to 4th in all of this. PSI legends popping in to say hi. Hello and welcome to the APPF1 Sprint Championship. We can see Ted fending off the Mercedes of Bluey, and now his teammate Vardy is looking to get involved in the action. There's been an incident down at sector 1. Let's have a look to see who that is. I think it's a Racing Point who's been involved. It's S-Man. S-Man's gone for another spin by the looks of it. We've got a battle going on between the other Racing Point of Faces Arm, the Renault of Simmer Gilligan, and the Alfa Romeo of Davalar. And Davalar keeps hold of 9th position. Goes for it again. Oh, he's made contact with the wall. Scholly's picked up damage and all that. And yes, he has. He's got damage on the left-hand side as Davalar, so he needs to try and fend off Faces Arm all he can to keep hold of 9th place. Although he doesn't, he's got a 3-second time penalty as well. Oh no, Davalar's not got a time penalty. Faces Arm's got a time penalty. Kington doing well at the moment. In fact, I think by staying within a second of his teammate, he's able to pull away from Ted and Bluey. Got 2 laps to go now, once they cross over the line. So the use of DRS on the pit straight. Bluey, the same on the Red Bull of Ted behind. This is the closer battle to watch than the top 2. Can Bluey find a way in front of the Red Bull? P4 Olives with a move on Scott 89 for 7th place. He's had a good race actually. Can Bluey find a way in front of Ted on this occasion? The answer is no. Vardy waiting to pounce. The gap between Kington and Ted is currently 2.6 seconds. So he needs to pull out a little bit more, and someone else has pulled into the pits. That's Wayne AA with damage. I wonder if he will try and go for the fastest lap. He's got a 6-second time penalty anyway. Ferrari 1 and 2 still on the road. Tier's now got a 3-second... Tier's got a 3-second time penalty. He's down in 15th place at the moment. That wouldn't drop him down a position though. Now, will Aces versus Kings let his teammate go through and try and get second place? And Wayne's had a moment down what looks like turn 3. He's got going again. He's had another miserable race tonight. He missed the first of the 2 here at Silverstone because of a race ban that he was serving for an infringement last weekend. And he's not having a good time of it all. Now I wonder if Kingston's beginning to get held up by his teammate now, because he was within DRS range, but I don't think he went as fast through the turn 6 or 7 as he would have liked to have done. And you can see Bluey getting past the Red Bull of Ted now, going up into 3rd place. And that's good news actually, because Bluey's time penalty, in fact Vardy's got another 3 seconds of time penalty, which is bad news for him, and goes past his teammate. So Ted being kind there and letting his teammate go through, because he knows he'll finish ahead of his teammate in the race. Vardy hits the barrier on the outside through the Anson Bridge. That's going to cost him time. But the good news for Kington is that he cannot lose his second position. But we are on the last lap. Aces versus Kings. Doing everything right in this race. Started. Trying to find where he started on the grid. He started 12th on the grid and then put himself in front for the rest of the race. 2 corners to go then. Aces versus Kings. will lead his teammate over the line to win here in Singapore. It's a Ferrari 1-2. Kingston finishes second, Bluey third, Vardy in fourth. In fact, Ted finishes third, Bluey fourth, Vardy fifth. Knowing like crossing the line, he takes fifth place from Vardy with the time penalties added. So Vardy's dropped to sixth place with his 6-second time penalty. P4 Eleves will cross the line in seventh. Then it's Scott in eighth. Simo Gilligan with his 13-second time penalty. He won't be keeping that position. Davila will come home ninth. Esman, I believe, will be in 10th place. He's got his teammate behind him as well. Esman 10th. Sumo Gilligan in 11th. Faces Arm will be 12th. Kiza Giza will be 13th ahead of Tier 727. That's the Mercedes goes past the AlphaTauri, although he won't keep that position on the race result. G Ghost, the reigning champion, 15th place. That's a miserable day's work for him, really. Especially with Ted and Vardy getting good points, and Kingston as well. So, what a result then for Aces versus Kings. And with that result, he becomes the first repeat winner of the season. He won the third race of the championship in Mexico, and now he's made it 2 wins to his name for this season. Brilliant, brilliant result for him. Which takes his total to, just trying to remember, because he started 12th on the grid for this race, which meant that he was 12th in the first race of today, which got him 9 points. We'll find out the championship standings soon enough afterwards anyway. But what we do know is that Ted is the new championship leader over his teammate Vardy, with Knowing Light and Kingston bagging good points in this race as well. So, a rundown on the race result here in Singapore. Aces versus Kings wins ahead of Kingston. Then it's Ted in third, Bluey fourth, Knowing Light in fifth, Vardy in sixth, P4 LFS 88 in seventh, Scott M89 in eighth, ahead of Davila, S-Man completing the top 10. Vardy QTR got the point for the fastest lap. Sumo Gilligan was 11th, followed by Hephaestus Arm, Kizagi's the 13th, Tier 14, Ghost 15, and Wayne, the last of the finishers, in 16th position. Patterson retired on the last lap, but he was classified in 17th, so he does get the 4 points. Starry didn't finish, and neither did Gremlin. So as far as the championship is concerned, the top 2 are now separated by just 2 points. Ted moving on to 104 points, Vardy on 102. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and I can't wait to do it all over again next weekend. Now, the next round of the championship will be next Sunday, 5:45 PM British Summer Time. The league races will be in Bahrain, the shorter layout that is for the first one, and the reverse grid race will be at Paul Ricard. I'm Tom Cairns, and I'll speak to you again soon when the APPF1 Sprint Championship returns.